Hey guys, Art131 here, and we're in week 6. So we're over the halfway mark, basically. Around in the same place as the middle. So assignment 11 is full face portrait. I say from a model, but if you can't get a model to sit there and let you draw them, then work from a photograph or some other image. You can find some of them on Bing or Google, but you might want to just take a photo of yourself or somebody else and work from that photo if they won't sit that long for you. And then we'll talk about number 12 and homework later in the week. What I'm going to do is provide a video on mapping out the face and proportion and where things are placed, and start putting in the detail and shading. I'm going to Bing here for full face portrait drawings, and you'll see several where the face is directly pointed at you, as opposed to this one, which is a 3/4 view. We're going to do a 3/4 view later, but right now, full face portrait. Basically what you want to notice is that the head is somewhat of an egg shape, where the top is more round and the bottom where the chin is kind of comes down to a rounded peak. Eyes are basically in the middle of their head or slightly above that, but they're certainly not way high up, and you're not going to cut off the head. You want a lot of shading. All face skin has a tone to it, so this really isn't accurate with really, really, really white areas, unless you're going to do it like this one, where the light is shining is the lightest areas. Tip of the nose, bridge of the nose, cheek, right here, and up here in the brow, possibly part of the chin, but the rest of it has darker tones. It's best when you're taking a photo to do a full-face portrait is to have the light coming from one side or the other, maybe slightly in front, but it gives shadow side. So that's easier to draw shape when you have a shadow side, as opposed to light straight on the face isn't going to show a lot of shadowing. So that's really the better way to do it. Now these are really good drawings. That might be a photograph. But you see what I mean, a lot of drawings here. And highlights in hair can be just erased out after you actually put tone in there. If you go down and erase out where you want the highlights, that works really well, and leaving the dark areas. You want to notice that eyes are kind of like what I outlined when we're talking about eyes before, in drawing your own eyes, that the iris is slightly covered by the top lid, and it sort of meets or maybe slightly gets covered by the bottom lid, but not as much as the top. There's lots of shading in lips. There's top and bottom shading on lips. The middle part probably is catching a lot of light, when the inside part and the underside part is not catching the light as well. So there's different tone in there. There's also different tone in the cheekbones, where the cheek meets the lip here, whatever this is called, I forgot what it's called, right under the nose and lip area. That's all got shading in there to give it shape. Same here, and here's a reflected light right here on the chin. So there's a lot going on. And let's look down to some other ones, That's a really expressive way of drawing. But they did tone out some of the darker areas on the face, leaving it kind of pale, in my opinion. I like more contrast than that, but something like this, we have a little more contrast where you're doing this. But this is a shading style which is done in lines, kind of like an ink style. It kind of creates a scratchy surface, which it's okay if you're really good at that, but if you're not, it's going to look scratchy. So I would suggest you smooth out your tone when you're doing this. Some of the more artsy ones do have lines, but I really prefer that more buffed approach to it. Really expressive, but smoother toning, right? Tones that blend into other tones, and then highlighted areas, some highlighted areas, but not the whole face, not all the skin. And the lips, look at these lips are really have a lot of shape, because that one's lit up and not on the bottom. This one's kind of in a shadow, but the top is slightly catching the light. So I'm going to provide a video. Check that video out as it goes. I think there might be a part 1 and 2 to it. I'll see what I can find. And, you know, very expressive sometimes. In a lot of different ways, in a lot of different areas. I mean, find your style, but put it together so there's shape. You don't want something flat, okay? And they're going to talk about proportions and placement, like having something like this drawn out, or something to think about anyway, where the head is sort of an egg shape. Because this is very round here, and it goes up higher than you think. This big mistake a lot of students make is they cut off the head, like right there or something, or put the eyes way the heck up here, and they're not. And ears, basically at the top of the eye, and this guy's kind of looking down at you. The ears are a little higher, I think, because if you look at this one, this is more accurate, I think, to where the ears are placed, between the top of the eye and about the bottom of the nose. Okay, this looks like a mugshot. Police illustration of somebody. That's what these guys look like. Whew. Look at this guy. But yeah, no, this is a fairly decent drawing though. And you notice there's no lines on the sides of anybody's nose. There isn't. It's all shading there. So don't put lines like burp, burp. Don't do that. Typically, eyes are about the same eye length from the corner of the inside of each to the other side. So there's like an eye length right there, eye length. And then a little bit of an eye length right here. This is kind of showing too much of that side and kind of twisted, which is a little bit weird looking. But if you notice a lot of these, there's like 5 spaces where the eye would be. Let's see if we can find a better one to look at. That one's kind of twisted too. And this one. So, you know, that's about a space of an eye length. And then another eye length where the side of the head meets and comes over to the eye corner. So you have like 1 eye length, 2, 3, 4, 5 different eye lengths, or similar eye lengths, that make up where the eyes are actually placed in the head. And they'll talk about that in the video. So look at that video and get going on this. And it should talk a little bit about hair and highlights as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. It can be very expressive, like something like this. Whoa, you know. This is kind of void of anything, but I think that was the idea behind the concept, sort of like a concept drawing in a way. I really want to go for realism as opposed to eyes like this, which are very cartoony, although some people do have eyes that cute and that big, but typically not like anime, all right, or cartoon. It's not really accurate. But you can get a lot of shape in lips with highlights and darker and lighter areas and little lines in them too. Okay? And then the eyes, reflection mark right there, a little bit shaded on the white part, on the corners. No lines on the nose at all. That's just a dark area. This is the shading that meets up with other shading and stops. And then you maybe have little lines for the eyelashes, but that's about it. All right, so look at these. Look at Google if you want to, too. Get a model, take a photo of either yourself or someone else, and get started. And also watch the video. All right, thank you.